Hey, what's up, everyone? Thank you so much for checking out this video here on Show Style and Spirit. I am Ebony, of course. As you can see from the title of this video, I will be giving my commentary on Carlos and Dustin reviewing part 2 of the season 6 reunion for Love and Marriage Huntsville. Of course, they give like a high-level commentary of the entire episode, but there are a few highlights that I want to focus on. Now, before we get into the deets, I ask that you all please hit the like button on this video or even the dislike button. Either one works the same, meaning that YouTube will recommend this video to more people who enjoy conversing about the various topics surrounding Love and Marriage Huntsville. And if you have not already done so, please subscribe to Shows Style and Spirit. I would love to have you. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So, in this first soundbite that I'm going to play for you all, they start out talking about Tiffany and her feeling like some of the viewers' comments about her on social media was affecting her mental health. So she wanted to take a step back from the show. And then with them talking about that, they ended up talking about specific instances where the public viewers may have interacted with some of the cast on the show. All right, so I'm going to play the soundbite and then come back with my commentary.
To see her, and the one thing about Tiffany's story is this. Listen, being on reality television is not easy. I don't know if I have it. I'm curious if you, Mr. Aries, I wonder if you have it. Listen, I'm personable. Obviously, I'm in front of the camera all the time. I don't know even if I have what it takes to give everything to the show. To the
totally understand that.
You know, it's not easy. So to number one, give yourself to a show. Then you got to have the audience judge you. Then on top of that is social media, and now they can find you. Whereas back in the days of Michael Jackson, Prince, and Janet, you had to write on your sister's notebook and write a letter, mail it to their fan mail, knowing good and dang well the assistant and the intern at the record company is reading it. Because that was your only
point of access,
or access to a celebrity. Now people can read you, slide in your DMs.
Show up at your damn house. Show up at your job. Remember they were showing up to Stormy's building?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Showing up to Stormy's warehouse, threatening her.
That's crazy.
It's insane. So Tiffany had a really bad experience.
Okay, so I want to first say that the video footage that I watched of Miss Black Titanic and her friend Shay at Stormy's warehouse, I did not hear Miss Black Titanic threatening anyone. What I heard was after Stormy started yelling and she was cursing, she called them YouTube 304s. That was when Shay, Miss Black Titanic's friend, allegedly defended herself. And she said, well, nobody here is a 304, and then, Stormy was amped up. I did not hear any threats. Okay. So I just want to say that there because, that's what Carlos said in that soundbite. And I definitely have to say that the Copyright Act of 1976 says that my fair use commentary of these soundbites are allowed for criticism. So I did not hear Miss Black Titanic threaten anyone, and her friend Shay was defending themselves after, Stormy was upset and came outside, to see them in the parking lot. Now, I kind of feel like in that soundbite, Dustin and Carlos were almost making it seem like fans being able to interact with a reality TV star or any type of celebrity is a new thing. I mean, we've always heard of, Carlos used the example of a fan club. He claims that the music record label intern was the one getting the letters. They may have been vetting the letters, but sure enough, letters that really stood out did make their way to the celebrity. And if the celebrity was really moved, they would meet them. I clearly remember, because I remember like getting emotional as a kid in the early 90s. Janet Jackson, her career was popping, 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 like that Rhythm Nation album, with Escapade and All Right and Miss You Much. Anyway, there were two Black girls who wrote her fan club. That was when you physically wrote a letter and put a stamp on the envelope and mailed it, like Carlos King said. They actually had dropped out of school. They did not care about their education. But in that Rhythm Nation album, Janet Jackson was promoting education. And they wrote a letter about how the Rhythm Nation album encouraged them to go back and get their GED. And Janet Jackson got wind of their letter. They got like front row tickets, and they got to meet her after the show. And she, as they were reading their letter, and it was videotaped, they were crying. And Janet Jackson had walked up, went over somewhere. She had gifts waiting for them. I remember that video so vividly. I need to try and find it. I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube. But I say that to say, fans being able to physically meet with celebrities is nothing new, and Dustin said, well, now they can just come to your house. Well, even on that level, that's nothing new either. I mean, I remember Halle Berry, when her kids were little, there was someone that came to her property and she had a panic room and took the kids there. That's like nothing new. So I don't know why they're making it seem like, social media and this whole thing is brand new. Even, Tiffany being judged, that is nothing new. And I mean, let's just keep it a buck. Tiffany, I know for me, the turnoff was her using kids to try and read people, from Monster to Kiki's son, who's an athlete and trying to get scholarships for college. I just didn't like those angles that Tiffany was trying to do to like read people. So, that was my commentary on what they said about the fans. So then Carlos King asked Dustin if he felt like, Kiki was still, abusing any substance. And Dustin was very clear on his stance on that.
Kiki is telling the truth in regards to the alleged use of drugs and whether or not she is still continuing to be on it.
Kiki ain't on nobody's drugs. Kiki might smoke a blunt or something. Kiki might have her a shot or two or three or four. Kiki is not...
Or tequila.
I would say Hennessy. She strikes me as a brown kind of gal. You know what I'm saying? Cognac, maybe a whiskey. You know what I'm saying?
Brandy,
or E&J, something like that. You know what I'm saying? Paul Masson. That right in there. But no, I don't for one second think Kiki is on drugs. I think that that's a very easy thing to say about her based on her admission of prior drug use, which sometimes you meet people in life who have an experience and they kind of make that experience such a big part of their story as opposed to something that they went through. Kiki loves attention. We know that. We see that consistently shown through her behavior. And so Kiki strikes me as the type of person who may lay on that part of her past a little bit too much. Like, I had this experience I went through. I was on drugs. I used these drugs and I was on it. And that was something I went through at the time. I think she needs to abandon it, because when you attach yourself too much to things like that for the sake of getting attention, now other people automatically make that your story. And so when you are not using drugs, right, but you're doing something that they don't like, they're going to attribute that behavior to your past in that way. Whereas if she would have just walked through it and we could have moved the hell on, you know what I'm saying? I think people would have been less likely to do that to her. So I love the fact that she's suggested that she take a drug test right then and there on the stage. I wish that would have happened. You know what I mean? Because that way we can have for once and for all, while we're all here. And again, that's Kiki's job. As part of this ensemble cast, she should have been thinking 10 steps ahead like that. Well, you know what? Let me get an independent testing lab to come be a part of this reunion moment so we can have it on the stage in front of every damn body and I can clear my name with that. Kiki's in a season of name clearing. at this point. We know the Crime Stopper shit, and she's being surveilled. And you know what I'm like? Kiki needs to clear her name as much as she can. So if that means she's got to pee in a cup, then you better get to tinkling. Because we need to know.
Not twinkle, twinkle, little star.
Okay, so I want to focus in that soundbite on Dustin saying that it was Kiki's job to set up having an independent lab orchestrate her taking a drug test at the reunion. Why would that be Kiki's job? Kiki is on-air talent. She is not a producer. I feel like it would be production's job to say to Kiki, okay, Kiki, for the reunion, we're going to hire an independent lab to come in and drug test you. And then by the end of the taping, you know, they should have the results done or however long it takes, and then we'll present that. That's for them to coordinate, because even if Kiki coordinated that herself, again, she's not a producer. So how would they even allow the lab people on site? Would they even air that footage for the reunion? That would be like a producer's brainstorming. And then it would have to actually be included in the episode and not get edited out. So I feel like Dustin was capping a little bit when he said that that would be Kiki's job. We clearly can see that that would be a production's call. And actually, by him saying that, I was just so convinced that these recaps between Dustin and Carlos, they are definitely pre-produced. Carlos definitely lets Dustin know the questions in advance, and, you know, he kind of gets him to lean in the direction that he wants him to go in. Because for him to say that that's Kiki's job, when clearly it is not, I feel like he was asked to say something like that to take the focus off of Carlos King and his production team for having the responsibility of wanting to show such an important storyline, such as sobriety. So if they say that it's Kiki's job, then the rest of us viewers won't think that, you know, Kingdom Reign Entertainment dropped the ball when it came on the wonderful opportunity to show someone's sobriety journey. And so that is my stance on that. So now they're going to talk about Bettie and how she likes to come for Melody. And they're really going to get into like the age of it all. And I don't want you to think that they are being ageist at all. But let's definitely hear the soundbite, and then I'll come back with my commentary.
Respect our elders. You know, I believe in a very clear boundary of respect that exists between elders and the generation after them or generations to come after them. I'm a respectful person when it comes to my elders. I call my friends' parents Miss and Mr. whoever, and Dr. Sir, Dr. Simone. You know, I respect my elders. And so I love you, Los. So I
love you back.
So you know, I believe in that respect, and so when I see the absence of it in such a blatant nature, it is unnerving for me. I don't like the way that Stormy's mom was determined to be combative and in a confrontation with Melody. It just don't look right. I remember when Nene was on The Apprentice, and she said, you know, you can't just be arguing with somebody 70 years old talking about Dionne Warwick. She said, because it just don't look right. So we just, you know, your hands are tied. Now, where Miss Bettie messed up is she's one mama too late, okay? Melody has run out of patience. She went through hell with Letitia's mother. And unfortunately, Miss Bettie, you just not, your time, you just came around at the wrong time because Melody does not have it for her. Melody flat out told her, oh, fine, I'm not here for you, okay? I don't know how much more clear that can be. It diffuses all of that energy because she's refusing to engage with her in that way. You know, it's only so much she can take, but Melody is telling her, like, this really ain't, you don't have nothing to do with this. And I'm so glad she took that approach because her mama doesn't have a place in conflict and being combative with those women and the men on that stage. You're somebody's goddamn mother. Okay, so you need to act like that and try to infuse some sort of order. Be maternal, be a matriarch amongst this cast instead of getting in here acting ignorant, yelling, making noises and faces, exaggerated behaviors, doing all that ignorant shit. I hated to see somebody's mama act like that. And I felt bad for Stormy because Stormy Steele is aware of presentation and image, and she's aware of Stormy is a businesswoman. She's built that shit out the mud, a multi-million-dollar business, and she doesn't like her mama acting like that amongst that cast. She doesn't like her mom being in the wrong like that and starting shit, poking and prodding Melody and eventually everybody is gonna get it with a mother like that. You know what I mean? So I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. And I felt like it was unfair because the other person on the other side, unless Melody's mama comes out, you know, she's powerless. She's powerless. Yeah, get in your van and run her over. Okay? That's what you do. Because that was just...
Get her van.
I sure do. You can put Melody's brother on Junior if he got something to say. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We joking. But yeah, I just thought she, you know.
Okay. So I want to definitely give my commentary on the issue with Bettie Steele because Dustin actually, he also led with, you know, Carlos, we're from Michigan and we come from this culture of we definitely respect and revere our elders. And I feel like that's probably the same regardless of your geographical location, okay, regardless if you are from Michigan or the Northeast or Southwest, wherever, you know, we're all raised that way to respect your elders, respect your elders, respect your elders. I think sometimes that it can be like excessive. I've even like had like people tell me like, yeah, so-and-so hasn't heard from you. They're wondering how you're doing. But because like they're the elder, like I have to be the only one to reach out to them. It's never like in the reverse. And I just think things like that is just kind of silly, you know? And I feel like elders, some elders, not all, but some kind of, because I have a couple of women in my life, they are like 30 years older than me, but like we can talk about anything. Like we talk about sex, like if a curse word slips out my mouth, they ain't tripping, okay? And they love the Lord too. They believe in God and they go to church, but they're not, they don't gasp at certain topics of conversation. They are real about all aspects of life and they're non-judgmental. So not all elders or elderly people are this way, but some of them think like their age in life is an automatic license to be rude, judgmental, disrespectful. And then if you return that energy, you are disrespectful because they are the elder. And I do not agree with that at all. And once you are delivered from that people-pleasing mentality, that's like such a blessing about hitting the 40s for me. And you are really blessed if you are younger than 40 and you already ain't into people-pleasing. I am so happy for you. But anyway, once you are delivered from the people-pleasing era, and you no longer care about making sure that what you look like and what you do pleases your so-called church family, plus your parents. And then if you're the baby and you have older siblings and a lot of them, once you deliver yourself from all of that, then you realize, no, the elders don't get to just disrespect me because they're old enough to be my mom or my grandma. Absolutely not. So with Miss Bettie thinking that she could come at Melody the way that she did in last night's episode was totally out of line and absurd. And when she started, you know, she was like flipping her head back and forth and like screaming out. It was like a whole nother energy or being was there, a whole nother presence. And it was very negative. So I'm just not feeling that lady at all. And Dustin brought up an important point that she is a fan of the show. And Kenya Moore was interviewed by Carlos King a few months back. And she said that when people are brought on to a reality TV show and they are fans of the show, it doesn't work. It's disastrous because they don't know how to interact with them in scenes in an authentic way, get to know the cast, But instead, because they are a fan, once they're on the show, they interact with the cast with their preconceived judgments and opinions already in their heads because they are a fan of the show. Now, several months ago, I did a video about the various reasons that Stormy's mom, Bettie, gave that she does not like Melody. There were quite a few. There was that she wanted Melody to clear up, people thinking that Stormy was recording her. Then there was she didn't like the fact that Melody was like agreeing with her about the baby Chess being spoiled in a playful way. And I believe there was like a third reason as well. Oh, it is a third reason. Bettie told Wanda on her YouTube channel, it's probably been about a year now, that when they were first putting together Love and Marriage Huntsville and building the cast, that someone recommended Stormy and allegedly Melody said, "This ghetto girl." Those are the three different reasons that Bettie said that she does not like Melody, but she only brings up one at the reunion. So that lets me know that she's full of ish because she's just trying to throw something on the wall and see what sticks. So speaking of the recording issue, I'm going to play this next soundbite where Dustin and Carlos, they discuss, Melody's tweet. And I kind of think like they've added some confusion to the mix. So that's my intro to the soundbite. I'll play it now and then come back with my commentary.
Was a big topic of discussion, okay, in regards to the Stormy, Melody, Miss Bettie trifecta. Is the fact that when an episode aired last season and it showed that Destiny was playing something, a recording that Martell heard about Melody doing an interview, I think with TMZ. Okay, but a lot of people thought it was a recording that somebody physically got the phone and was recording Melody's conversation. Because of that, the fans went crazy, and people were intimating that Stormy was behind this leaked phone call, and it wasn't, by the way, a leaked phone call, guy. That was from I think TMZ or another. It was a soundbite. It was a soundbite. So Miss Bettie, who apparently is a part of the Love and Marriage Huntsville Facebook fan page. Hi, y'all. She went on Facebook, started going in on Melody, saying, "Melody, you see your millimeters attacking Stormy. Stormy had nothing to do with this. Can you clear the air?" And Melody said, number one, she didn't see it. Number two, that ain't her job. How do you feel about that? Do you think that Melody should have made a comment, a tweet that this is not about Stormy. Stormy had nothing to do with it, to clear the air?
No, because she don't like Stormy. So why would she do that? No, I don't. Now, I think Melody's not telling the truth. I know Melody saw those comments under there. Of course she saw them. But she wasn't motivated to offer any sort of rebuttal or say something to change this. But I think if we zoom out a little bit, why would she even discuss that with them, right? It shows who places value in what's going on in the comments as opposed to who's showing up, being present in the scenes and worried about that. It's a performative element that is present to the way that Stormy's mom, Miss Bettie, shows up. She's performing for what she thinks the people that are watching the show are going to say. And she's playing to them. She's playing to what the comments have to say. And that's why that was so important to her, because she's a fan of the show, like we all are, right? But I think that when you become a cast member on the show, you have to have a moment where you understand that you can't partake and participate in the fandom of the show because you're on it. And I think that because she's caught up in being a fan of the show, Miss Bettie, that's who I'm talking about. I think because she's caught up in being a fan of the show, she wants the people in the comments on her side. And that's just not how it works, unfortunately. Those people are expressing their opinions about a whole lot of stuff. Okay? And you can't really play to that in the way that you show up on the show. It shows a lack of maturity. And so it's just another example of her doing that. I don't think that she should have expected Melody to do it. I don't think that I can understand Stormy being upset that you're not clearing something up, but I also think Stormy understands that her and Melody ain't cool like that. So why should she do her a solid in that way? She could, and it would be a nice thing to do to kind of broker peace and move things in a better direction. But once you already kind of enter the space where, you know, Stormy, I think we talked previously about the show, and I expressed to you, I think Stormy kind of played the hand wrong when it came to being so willing to lean into an argument or some sort of disagreement with Melody. I think she leaned into that too much because she thought that's what the fans wanted to see, is her and Mama, you know. But it was a bad play, and so I think that all of that is just another example of that.
Okay, y'all. So we have a lot to talk about. Okay, so first I want to say that Dustin is correct that Stormy, you definitely made a bad play when you decided to lean in the gang up on Melody. And he said that he felt like Stormy did it because she thought that the viewers would want to see it. No, we all know that she decided to go against Melody to be with the clique, to be with the majority of the cast, who would always go out of their way to try and be negative towards Melody and try to be hurtful and judgmental. So she decided to go in that route, that direction, instead of authentically continuing to get to know Melody and to see if a friendship can form. I feel like outside of the show and outside of the fans digging her, I feel like Stormy just missed out on a friendship on a very human level. I feel like that was her biggest loss. And I want to say in the very beginning of that soundbite, Carlos and Dustin were trying to put out the notion that there's absolutely no secret recording of Melody. And Carlos brought up the scene. Remember, it was Destiny Martell and Chris Fletcher when Destiny was playing a soundbite from an interview that Melody did. And they were in that scene, they were talking about whatever the soundbite was about. That's not the secret recording though. That's like, Melody was very clear. Like, I believe she even brought in a technician who would specialize in like scanning your house to see if anyone has placed a bug in your house to record you. That is a totally separate situation from her doing an interview and Destiny playing a snippet of the interview in that scene. Come on now, y'all. We are not dumb. And we have memories. None of us are suffering from dementia or Alzheimer's, thank God. We know that those are two separate situations altogether. So I'm not sure, why they would even say that. So now the other thing that I want to talk about is a public figure looking at comments. Now, Melody is a public figure. She owns a variety of businesses. One of them is she does a lot of speaking engagements and she gets on the plane. She flies out of state all the time. Sometimes she takes all 4 of her kids and her staff on the plane to these speaking engagements. I say all that to say, Homegirl is way too busy to notice each and every single comment that comes through. I, even as a small content creator, a small blogger, I appreciate every single one of you though. When you comment, I try to find time to acknowledge, I like to really process your comment and just really enjoy it. And sometimes I respond to, that's exhausting too. And I work a full-time job, so then it's like, for me to really focus on each one, that takes time and energy. And then sometimes you have to have balance, right? In life, we have to have balance. Sometimes people will be negative and project that negativity in the comments section. So then sometimes you don't check it because you don't want to feel any negativity. You're feeling really positive and you want that to remain. And I'm pretty sure if I was a betting woman, that's definitely the type of time that Melody is on as well. Just this morning, I follow Heather Dubrow. She is a woman from the Real Housewives of Orange County. Her husband is Dr. Terry Dubrow. He's a surgeon on the reality TV show Botched. I love that show. He does amazing work and he changes people's lives who have been traumatized by horrible plastic surgery. Anyway, I saw she had an IG story, so it made me go to her IG page. And, you know, I was looking at this beautiful photo of her and her family. She has 4 kids. 3 of them are young adults. And I believe her baby, Coco, she's like a teenager now. But, you know, there were some comments where it's like, oh, I love your family. They're so beautiful. You know, she's like, thank you. Heather responded to some people. Then some comments, people were leaving really homophobic comments because, you know, 2 of Heather's kids, one is lesbian and the other one is bisexual. And the people were just leaving horrible comments. So I'm sure at some point Heather stopped looking at all of the well wishes because they weren't all well wishes. So I don't think that it's fair to Melody for Dustin to say that she was being untruthful, saying that she didn't see the comments. Sometimes you want to stay out of that negativity and you don't want to engage because it can be exhausting, not only on your mental, but your spirit. So that is what I wanted to say about that. But what did you all think of Dustin and Carlos's commentary on the episode? I thought that the reunion, it was another high energy episode. I'm glad to see that for part 3, they're going to bring the Fletchers back out because I was like, whoa, where did they go? Why did they get replaced with Bettie and Junior? But I see they're going to be brought back out where they are going to talk about, you know, of course, Chris Fletcher cheating. But I also want Carlos to ask them about their family dynamic. So I hope that he gets the job done. But definitely let me know in the comments what you thought about Dustin and Carlos's commentary. Thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate your support. I hope you're having a fantastic weekend. I saw The Beekeeper. It's an action movie with Jason Statham. If you know him from like the Fast and the Furious movies and those shark movies called The Meg. He's very entertaining. The Beekeeper was really good. And Felicia Rashad from The Cosby Show, she is in the movie. She is a central character. And from what happens to her, the movie gets deeper and deeper. So it was very interesting and it was action-packed. Yeah, so please hit the like button on this video and please subscribe. And I will talk with you all soon. Bye.